And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hot Takes, Goodman and Renck. You getting pumped for some hockey today, Troy?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially after that gold medal game for Team USA, the women, yesterday. I think we had 4 straight overtime games in the Olympics. The 3-on-3 is a little weird, but in that setting, it kind of works. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, what do you like better, 3-on-3 or 4-on-4?
4-on-4.
Do you?
It's closer to the real game. 3-on-3 is a little contrived, but in this setting, they need outcome. So I get it.
How about 2-on-2? That would make it really exciting.
Yeah, that would be like one shot. That's a penalty shot.
All right. With that, I want to tell you about Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk. They always have great promotions. We've been talking about this for a while, and it is finally here. They are giving away a pair of snowmobiles or nearly $18,000 in cash this upcoming weekend. It's your choice of what you want, the snowmobiles or the cash. Earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points with your player card. You can also earn a chance to win during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos really lose slots. They can't say that. I can. I've been there multiple times. I don't win every time, but I win more than I lose, which is awesome. They have great promotions as well. Outstanding food. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Well, for the Nuggets last night, it was one of those expected losses with the way the season has gone. And once again, are you kidding me? They lost this way again. 115 to 114. The clutch minutes for the Nuggets have been a problem all season. Nuggets have now lost 8 of 12 games decided by 3 points or less, excluding overtime. You know, we talk about the Broncos winning close games. The Nuggets are doing the exact opposite. Nuggets now the 4th seed in the West, and they're only, get this, 3 games ahead of the Suns for the 7th seed. Troy, you wrote a great column today, but give me some answers. Why do you think they keep losing those close games? And is there a way to turn it around? And I'm sorry, it's got to be more than just missing Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson.
Yeah, that's the knee-jerk responses. Oh, they're hurt. Well, please. It's not that they're just hurt. They're not executing late. Those of us who stayed up and watched that game late, I think you and I included, they don't make shots late. That's the sobering truth is Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray don't play their best in these final minutes. And you say, well, you know, that happens. We're just so used to them being the best. They were like the best team in the clutch for years. Jokic is missing some bunnies late, and Murray is as well. Now, they both made key shots late, but they were underwater, under 50% for the game. Neither one of them shot well. That's number one. Number two is they struggle to get offensive rebounds. So when you're not making bunnies, that's fine. Get a rebound, put it back up, get on the foul line. They don't offensive rebound as well as they used to. The final thing is they just have defensive breakdowns. Last night, 24 seconds left. They have a chance down, where they have a chance to just let the play out, play defense, and go win it. And Hardaway fouls with 19 seconds left on the shot clock. So you had a 5-second differential. He fouls, and then he's like, "Oh no, what did I do?" Like, okay, that happens. That was a mistake. And then on an inbounds, moments later, Cam Johnson and Jokic miscommunicate, and Brook Lopez goes the length of the court on a touchdown pass for a layup. That's how you lose late. So you want to know you don't rebound offensively, you miss easy shots, and you have defensive breakdowns. Those are the hallmarks of how you lose late.
Is it coaching or is it the players? I
know
it's a combination of both. I know it is. But and Bruce Hurdle used to hate when I framed it this way. Troy, you got to go 51-49%. Who's the 51%?
The players.
I agree.
It's on the players. Now,
and it's not like this isn't an experienced team either. They have guys who have played for championships. They have guys who've had major college experience. It's not like it's the first time they've picked up a basketball and they don't know how to play late in the game. But this is becoming concerning. The Broncos made it to the AFC Championship game because they won close games. And you better expect in the playoffs, at least you hope, These are all going to be close games. And I think it's a mentality as much as anything else. I mean, how many Broncos players said when the fourth quarter comes, we feel it's our time? For the Nuggets, I can't imagine how they feel it is their time.
Yeah, they're a 500 team overall in the clutch. Like you said, they've lost 8 of 12 close games by 3 points. The Broncos, conversely, were 12-3 in one-score games.
Right.
Bo Nix led all of football with 8 fourth-quarter comebacks, counting the playoff one against the Bills. That there is a skill to it, and it's what's frustrating for Nuggets Nation is they've seen the Nuggets execute late for years. Really, since the championship season, even the last few years, they were good in the clutch. They just this year, the Cavs game, the Clippers game, this Clippers game. I mean, I just like the Pistons game. And when you say players or coaches, I do want to at least needle Adelman. They had a chance to win it. For those of you who didn't stay up and watch it, 0.9 of a second left. Jamal Murray draws a foul. So it's just like the Pistons game again. He's on the line with 0.9 of a second left. He needs to make 3 to tie it. He makes the first 2, which are typically the hardest, especially the first one. And then Adelman, his own coach, ices him. He subs in 3 guys. He goes full Sean Payton. There's like a 25-second delay as Brown comes in and Jonas Valanciunas comes in, and we're looking around. He accidentally iced his own shooter. Then Jamal misses it, and they lose again. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And maybe they don't win in overtime. Plus, how do you allow the new guy for the Pacers to go off for 38? I don't want to hear, he's an explosive, dynamic player. He can't go off for 38. This is, again, it's frustrating. And the part of my column I want to get into is about the age of Jokic. Something happened yesterday, Eric, with his birthday that was a critical number, if you know NBA history, given how old he turned.
And that is in relation to Steve Nash.
He's 31 as of yesterday, Jokic. You're like, he's young. He's in his prime. He is in his prime. The last MVP 30 or older was Steve Nash in 2006. So what I'm saying and I said it in my column, it's not just the Thunder who are your problem anymore. It's Victor, and it's the Spurs. It's Wemby. He is the future of the league. No, wait, he's the present. He's here right now. He's 24, 11, 2 assists, and almost 3 blocks. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He could very well MVP now because Shea's out. Jokic has missed too many games, and nobody in 20 years has won MVP older than 30. So my point is this. It doesn't mean Jokic can't play well, but the days of him being the best player in the league, if you trust history, are over. And that's concerning for the Nuggets. Because you're like, oh no, are they going to become the Bucks? Is this going to be Giannis? One great moment. They will never forget it. But man, would it be a shame if they only won 1.
We are barely out of February, but I believe you have come up with the best line of the NBA season, whether it is a local writer, whether it is a national writer. Looking at the trajectory of the Spurs, to the victor goes the spoils. And that could not be any more accurate. And that, my friend, could not be any more clever in the way that you wrote it to end your piece. With that, I'm going to use a baseball analogy and try and bring it over to the Nuggets season. Generally speaking, unless you're last year's Colorado Rockies, most teams will win 60, lose 60. Your season is decided on the other 42 games. Was the loss, or I should say, was the loss one of those 60, or was the loss one of those 42?
I mean, to me, it was one of the 42.
Me as well.
It was
That's
a meaty
They
game.
should have won. The Clippers are not a very good team. I understand Kawhi is terrific. But right now, again, and I said it at the top of the podcast, the Nuggets are tied for the 3rd/4th seed, although they are currently in 4th place. They are 3 games ahead of the Suns, who are 7th. And there have been a couple of games recently where they might look back and say, those are games we should have won and did not, and that's why we're sitting at the 6th seed. And that is going to be a terrible feeling for this team, knowing they could have been higher. Losing games they should win. It is okay to lose to the Pistons on the road. There is no shame in that because they're one of the best teams in the league. There is no shame in losing to Oklahoma City. I get it. But knowing there were 27 games to go in the regular season, dating back to yesterday, knowing what their schedule looks like. And when I say that, I mean of the 27 games heading into yesterday's game, 17 of those games are against really good basketball teams for the most part. 3 against Oklahoma City, 3 against the Spurs, 2 against the Lakers. They still have Boston on the schedule. They have a very difficult schedule down the stretch, and they cannot afford to have hiccups against teams that they're supposed to beat.
Well, and to your point, it's the toughest schedule in the league in the second half. And so now you're going to look back and look at that first half where you went 15-11 at home and you lost to the Hornets and you lost to the Bulls and you lost to the Cavs and you lost to the Clippers. Like, you lost 4 or 5 home games that could have given you a little bit of cushion. And everyone says, oh, they're playing great on the road. It's hard to keep winning on the road, especially against the Spurs, the Thunder, the Celtics. Like, those are teams you don't traditionally beat on the road. Like, sometimes you do. But let's be real here. And that's what concerns me is you're not playing well late, and now you're going to tell me you're going to keep winning all these road games. Again, a lot of this could solve itself. They have the card to play of wait till Gordon and Watson come back together. And that's fair, and you've said it, and it's fair. That's when they should improve significantly on the defensive end. But that still doesn't answer the last 2-3 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Gordon and Watson aren't necessarily the options at the end of the game. Yeah. They're available, but we don't go, oh my God, Gordon coming back. They're going to win with 10 seconds left. Could they? Yeah, it gives them more versatility. But let's be clear, it's not Jokic coming back from injury. He's already here. So I'm concerned. Something doesn't feel right about this season in terms of a championship bid. They're good. They deserve all the credit for the number with 10-6 without Jokic. But defensively, their inability to turn people over and their lack of offensive rebounding and this clutch thing is now a thing. Eric, what do you think is a bigger issue? And it's a little off topic. Nuggets' inability to win in the clutch or the Avs' horrible power play?
Well, I told you that what the solution is for the Avs power play. Once you go on the power play, take the puck, flip it over the bench, now you suddenly have a 4-on-4. Right. That's easily solvable. I know they're not going to do it. Any hockey purist is going to tell me I'm nuts. And then I'm going to say, look at the statistics, how they are 4-on-4. And that's my argument. But to your point, the Nuggets in the clutch are a much bigger problem simply for the fact that in the playoffs and in a lot of games, it comes down to the final 2 or 3 minutes. The Avs are still very good 5-on-5. They can still score. They still have a couple of pretty good goalies. They still have star talent. You're not going to win and lose, generally speaking, night in, night out, because your power play wasn't very good, because generally speaking, how much time do you spend on the power play? Generously, maybe you spend 8 minutes of the 60. So if that's the case, you still have an opportunity to score in the other 52 minutes. When you have 2 minutes to go in the game, either you win or you lose. And whether Gordon or Peyton Watson are on the floor, and listen, I understand that Jamal Murray is a very good free throw shooter, but when you look at a couple of games where he's missed a free throw, and the Nuggets are an 80% free throw shooting team.
Yeah, that's the thing. They shoot well. They just don't shoot well late. Every offensive metric is they're the first in the league. They shoot free throws well, but they don't do all of it well late.
Let's look at a good problem to have, if indeed it is a good problem to have. Julian Strawther, since being inserted in the starting lineup, and specifically in the last 5 games, he has been on a tear. He's averaging about 16 points a game. Bruce Brown had a terrific game yesterday offensively, and he filled up the box score as well. So with that, if Adelman plays an 8-man rotation, and I cannot imagine he will, so let's just for fun bump it up to a 9-man rotation, okay? Who's going to be sitting on the bench and getting very limited to no minutes? If your starting 5 is going to be Gordon, Cam Johnson, Jokic, Brown, and Murray. Those are your 5 starters. So pick 4 of these 6 guys who are going to get minutes, and the other guys are going to be sitting on the bench. Watson, Hardaway, Valanciunas, Strawther, Brown, and Spencer Jones, because I can't imagine he's going 11 deep. If he goes 10, I'd be surprised. I think it's more likely 9. So which one of those guys who have contributed in bunches throughout the season, which two sit?
Well, Strother would sit because he does a lot of what Watson does. I mean, they're the same. They're kind of the same guy in some ways, and Watson's a better version than him.
Okay.
I mean, you saw it when Pickett was playing. Like, oh man, he's got a purpose. Guys come back, Pickett doesn't play. Najee looks good. Guys come back, Najee doesn't play. I think the Strother showed me something here. Showed me to be able to knock down a 3, but he would be on the block, and then you would look at matchups with Jones. I mean, what night do you need him to be a defensive specialist? There would be nights where he doesn't play, is my guess. This is where we sit here right now, not knowing what Gordon looks like defensively when he comes back, not knowing if Watson looks like he's supposed to when he comes back. But the two guys who are obviously in trouble would be Spencer Jones and Julian Strother. And that's just the nature of it. But listen, Christian Brown has to keep playing well. He looks like he's back, but he's got to keep going. They're not going to just say, oh, figure it out next year, kid. We're going to use this season to make sure your ankle's all right. There were a couple times last night he didn't finish because it looked like he was favoring his ankle still. So I think there's some variance there. But if you ask me right now, Strother and Jones would be the last two guys out in that kind of rotation.
Every time Strother has a good game, every time Pickett has a good game, but specifically Strother and Peyton Watson. If you're Calvin Booth watching on your couch, are you thinking, Michael, I was fucking right and you were wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that a few weeks ago that Calvin Booth, the GM, needed David Adelman, the coach, to succeed. And just Malone made the young guys.
Well, but hold on a second.
He politicized the young players.
Let me ask you something. If all of these injuries don't happen, do you really think Strother is doing what he's doing right now? If all of these injuries don't happen, do you really think Peyton Watson is doing what he's doing right now?
Not to the number, but they would be because they would have been given fair opportunity to succeed. Malone set up guys, in my opinion, the young guys to fail. He just never played them, and then you give them a bunch of minutes, and they stink. If you watched, Adelman was making a concerted effort to give these guys opportunities early. I think they wouldn't have had, Watson wouldn't have averaged what he's averaging, but Strother they would get opportunities that are just a little sporadic. Adelman is much more apt and has shown that to integrate young guys. Now, again, we'll see if that matters come the playoffs, because the irony would be this, where Booth could look at the team and say, see, I told you these young guys are functional and they give you depth, and then Jokic and Murray don't play their best and Gordon don't play their best in the playoffs, and the bench doesn't matter because you can't win. The whole idea of the bench is your stars match up with the other team's stars. If their stars don't, which has been the issue late, it doesn't matter what your bench does in the playoff. You can't win games with your bench in the playoffs consistently, especially on the road.
Well, it's funny because Malone might have to take the heat for not playing these young guys, but when he was the head coach, they were excellent at the end of games.
Yes,
where
that's
Adam's
fair.
team has not been.
That's fair.
So what's the disconnect there?
It just looks like they're missing shots. It doesn't look different. They're running the two-man game. They're running the high pick and roll. It's not like, because remember, Adelman ran their offense when Malone was there. It was all going through Adelman. So it's like the same play caller in football. It's just, if it were the Broncos, for instance, it'd be like Cortland Sutton has the touchdown on the ball's a little wide, or he drops it. Like everything looks the same. They're not finishing. Like it's not like you look at it and go, oh my God, those are terrible shots. They're missing shots they normally make. And that's their argument. Well, eventually they're going to go down, but goddamn, we're almost to March. I mean, how many games are you going to lose this way before it starts? You brought it up. Before it starts to affect your psyche a little bit, that we can't win these games because everyone's talking about, well, when you win in the clutch, man, it empowers you and you feel confident. Well, I would tell you from covering teams, the exact opposite is true. You start losing late, you're wondering when the other shoe's going to drop all the time. And that's what Murray looks like on the foul line. It's like he looks nervous to me, which he never looks nervous on the foul line.
Let me give you another thing that is concerning, because now we are starting to see a pattern. Nikola Jokic, for the most part, is good for a triple-double for every game. Is that fair to say?
I know where you're going with this, and you're right.
He's getting close to a quadruple-double. Unfortunately, that final box is turnovers.
How many did he have last
the
night?
offense runs through him. Last night, it was 6 turnovers.
So he's got
and I'm not trying to
25.
pile on this guy, okay?
25 in his last 4 games. That's
Right.
a lot of turnovers.
Well, here, let's even chop that down even further. In his last 3 games, 6 turnovers, 9 turnovers, 7 turnovers.
Yeah, that's too many. 3 is kind of the number for him because he handles the ball so much. Some of those are bad passes. Like I'm watching the games, and again, it's just a little off. He's trying to squeeze. I mean, it's just like, man, Nikola. And he had, I think, 3 of those turnovers were in the first quarter, and like 2 of them were in like the first 5 possessions. So
are people around town talking about media, whether it's sports talk radio or schmucks like us, because he is so good at filling up that box score and winning games, and he's a Hall of Fame player, and he gets his triple double. Are we not paying enough attention to the turnovers with him?
It's easy to forget about it because he's so good. And it's like, well, you live with it because without him, they were 10-6. But in general, without him, you're like, God, are we going to be, is this going to be a lottery team? That you fear that without him. But listen, let's just say for argument's sake, if that were Bo Nix,
oh geez,
he would lead from 6 a.m. talk radio to 6 p.m.
Right.
We're going to circle back, boys. Top of the hour. What would it be? Bo Nix. Bo Nix can't throw in the clutch. Bo Nix is turning the ball. So in that sense, it feels a little unfair at times with the Broncos. And it's
hold on.
It's the nature of the schedule because it's 1 game a week, so it magnifies it. But Jokic, because of who he is, he has to be better. And you can still point it out without saying, oh my God, he's not. It's just he's got to take care of the ball better. It's really that simple. He said it last night in the post game. Too many turnovers. He knows he's the guy that leads the team in turnovers. He's not hiding from the fact. Now, I don't expect Adelman to call him out, but he knows he's got to take care of the ball better. End of story.
Well, if you want to compare, Jokic's turnovers to Bo Nix, one thing you need to throw in there is this. Bo Nix needs to be averaging 300 passing yards a game. Excuse me. He needs to be, throwing at a completion rate of about 66% a game. He needs to be throwing 3+ touchdowns a game. That's what Jokic does.
Right.
As a quarterback, his yards are up there, completion percentage is up there, touchdown passes are up there. So if he's throwing 3 touchdowns a game, but he has 1 interception a game or maybe 2. And that was, generally speaking, a Brett Favre line score. Right. That was a John Elway line score. But for Bo Nix, when you look at his overall numbers, that to me is not apples to apples with Jokic because he's not doing all of those other things.
Yes. Well, he still leads the league in dropbacks and passing attempts. He just doesn't. I mean, with his receiving core, he's never going to lead the league in touchdowns and yards until they upgrade his receiving core. But I'm just saying he gets a lot of opportunities to throw. Yep. And if he was making these kind of mistakes, he would be absolutely barbecued. That's the nature of the Broncos where we live. Everything they do is, either it's the best or it's the worst. There's not much nuance when it comes to Broncos, especially radio conversation. With Jokic, there is, because nobody sits and watches all 82 games. They just don't. And they see the lines, they see the box score. Oh, Jokic almost had a triple-double, must have had a great night. By his standards, he didn't. He's under 50% shooting, and he leads in turnovers. When he does that, it's hard for them to win. And I love the guy. He's a unicorn. We get it. I get it. It's just the way they're constructed when he has nights like that, and he especially doesn't finish, doesn't shoot well in the fourth, it's hard for him to win. They're not, because Murray, the Clippers made it very clear they were going to take Murray out of the game. They were running to him, doubling. That's why Brown ended up with so many points. But then when they said, okay, we're not going to do this the whole game, they needed Jokic and Murray to get hot, and they made a couple of big shots, but they didn't stay hot in the fourth quarter.
In basketball, you get a lot of possessions. In football, you don't get a lot of possessions. So when somebody turns the ball over, if Bo Nix throws an interception, it's not good. You're losing a possession. However, is the other team scoring on you? Right. And if they are, is it a touchdown or is it a field goal? I would be curious to see, and I'm sure somebody has the stat out there. Let's look at the 6 turnovers he had last night. I don't know the answer to this. How many of those turnovers were converted into points?
At least 3, because I was watching the game.
It was a 1-point game. So for all the points that Jokic is scoring and the assists and the rebounds, I'm not saying that those turnovers cost them the game, but I think we need to look at, how many of those are converted into points and how many times are his teammates bailing him out defensively when a turnover does happen.
Yeah, 3 of them early were. He had a bad pass early in the lane that went back for a break, and then he got absolutely manhandled by Brook Lopez up near the top of the key. That went back for a basket. So, yeah, I mean, because oftentimes those turnovers are happening closer to the top of the key or in transition, so the ball gets deflected, nobody's back. That's what, because he's a point center. So it's not like a turnover where he's trying to hand off a ball to Gordon underneath. You know what I mean? He's throwing it in transition. So if it gets tipped, there's nobody back. And that's a great point by you, because again, you want him, you never want to change him. It's just when that number is 6 and not 3 and you're playing close games, it adds up. I mean, it just does. That the math of it, as we see, suddenly doesn't work. Like, you're right on the number, and then he gives up 6 points off 3 turnovers, or let's say 9 on, and then all of a sudden, man, it's just the math, because they don't convert off turnovers. They don't force enough turnovers defensively. That's the other issue. Defensively, the Nuggets don't force a lot of turnovers.
Do you think him coming off of injury and all these turnovers happening, do you think there's a link? That he's not 100%, which I don't know if he will be 100%, but do you think there is a tie together between not being 100% and these turnovers?
100%. 100%. And I don't want to make an excuse for him. He just doesn't look 100% to me. Right. The eye test. I'm not a doctor. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
You didn't?
I just watch him, and he doesn't look 100%. He looks close, but he looks a little rusty. His rhythm in his shooting looks a little off. And that's encouraging because he's got time, but he's missing shots we don't see him miss consistently. We have every once in a while he'll have a bad game, but he's just missing shots underneath that we typically don't see him miss.
I mean, excuse me for dating myself, and I'm dating you as well. Looking at Jokic's box score yesterday, 6 turnovers, 0 for 6, shooting for 3. The analogy is, well, how hot can Cindy Crawford be? Look at that big mole on her face, like the one I have right here. And people don't think I'm handsome because of this, and it's insulting.
Yeah, last night, I mean, he's been good on 3. He wasn't last night. He wasn't. And I mean, again, their variance and their margin for error is very similar to the Broncos when they play offense. Like, man, a couple bad possessions and all of a sudden they're in danger. If Jokic has a bad quarter, or he suddenly has a night like this where he goes 0 for from 3-point land, it's hard for him. It just, last night was frustrating because they had it. It wasn't like they steamed back and you're like, oh, it was a great rally. They were down by 20. They had it. They were up by 4.
Game was tied with a minute to go in the game.
Exactly. Right. Like, it's your game.
Championship teams win those games.
And the Clippers have changed over their roster. They have Kawhi, but they traded Garland. They traded Zubac. That's like they've been really switching. And you let the guy come from the Pacers who goes for 38. Like, come on now. And then, listen, they go Portland tonight, and then they play a day game against the Warriors. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, you have 6 left against the Thunder and Spurs and 1 against the Celtics. Yeah. That's why you needed last night. That was one you had in your pocket.
I'll tell you a quick little story. Not that this has any interest to the people watching this, although it is a pretty good story. I can tell you a couple of stories about this beauty mark. That's what I refer to it as. Even though I'm not beautiful, I do have a beauty mark. When I was young, when I was still in college, I drove around Georgia talking to news directors about television jobs. And I'm sitting in a news director's office. He looks at my tape, pops the tape out, looks at me and said, when are you getting rid of that thing on your face?
Jesus.
And no joking when I say this. Honestly, I'm so used to having this, I didn't even realize that I did. That was the first time I realized, oh, I guess I do have this. But the best story I can tell you is I'm anchoring in Buffalo, New York at WKBW, and I get off the air, and my light is flashing for my voicemail on my work phone. So I pick up the voicemail, and the voicemail says, and it's an older lady, and she said, Mr. Goodman, I just watched your sportscast on the air, and I don't know if you realize this, but you had a fly on your face for the entire sportscast. If you would like to call me back, here's my number. So I called her back. Seemed like a nice older lady. So I called her back and I said, Mrs. Jones, whatever her name was. I said, that wasn't a fly on my face. That is a birthmark that has been on my face my entire life. And she pulls her mouth away from the phone, clearly talking to her husband, and says, I told you it was not a fly. It was a beauty mark. So I've had a couple of those things. To Cindy Crawford, I hope no one ever told you you had a fly on your face. Coming up after the break, I happened to stumble across something that ESPN put together many years ago. And people have this barstool conversation all the time. What is the most difficult sport to play? And they ranked it from 1 to 60. Sorry to all my angler friends out there, but fishing finished last. The question is, what is 1 through 10 by the criteria that I thought was excellent that was set up? That's next. Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a pair of snowmobiles or nearly $18,000 in cash the weekend of February 20th. It's your choice what you want, the 2 snowmobiles or the cash. Earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming points on your player card. You can also earn a chance to win during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
And welcome back. Hot Takes, Goodman and Renck. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 five-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
I stumbled upon this list recently, and it should tell you how long ago this was, because I probably should have stumbled upon this many, many years ago. This list was done in 2007. That's how long ago this list was compiled. With that, the list is this: the 60 most difficult sports to play, from football to fishing. The criteria was nerve, like bull riding, agility, power, speed, strength, flexibility, durability, endurance, analytic, and aptitude, and hand-eye coordination. Here is the top 10. And
well, it's pretty obvious curling's one, so we could probably end it right now.
No question. If you got to have hand-eye coordination with that sweeper, as long as you don't cheat. Canada. What? Not Canada. Whoa. Canada. With that, this list was done such a long time ago. UFC was not even a sport back then. So here is the list in order: boxing, hockey, football, basketball, wrestling, martial arts, tennis, gymnastics, baseball, and soccer. You have a problem with that list? Maybe somebody should be in the top 10 in terms of sport. I can tell you right now, my wife left this morning. She is a competitive jumper. She owns horses, but she is on the road driving your direction up to Loveland, where there's a big horse park. Fortunately, she's not here to hear me talk about this, because she and I talked about it, and she's like, equestrian has to be there. How is that not in the top 10? To which I said to her, the horse does most of the work, which did not go over well.
I'm sure that went over great as she walked out the door.
Correct. Well, listen, I've been sleeping on the sofa. My back is killing me, but I digress. With that list, do you agree with the sports that are there, the order that they're in? Would you change the order, or should another sport be there?
It's because of how difficult it is to hit a baseball.
Oh, God. Yes.
I would move baseball
coordination. Up. By the way, hand-eye coordination, baseball ranked as a perfect 10. But remember, there's other criteria involved. You and I had this conversation. What's more difficult to do? And this sport is not even in the top 10. What is more difficult to do? Hit a baseball, or hop into a F1 car, hop into a Daytona 500 and drive 200 miles an hour in heavy traffic and not die after a half lap.
Again, to the argument you just used, the car's doing a lot of the work. You have to have nerves of steel, but the car is still the instrument. When you're in baseball,
the car is going fast, but the car is not a Tesla where it's self-driving. You have to be able to drive that car as well in heavy traffic at 200 miles an hour.
It's amazing.
I don't buy. Now, as far as being an athlete goes, I'm with you on that. I don't think you have to have great speed and great agility. But then again, how much agility do you need standing in right field and maybe the ball isn't hit to you the entire game? That would be my argument.
Well, you would need it on a specific play. That's
yes.
the issue with baseball. It stops and starts, and you go from 0 to 60 in an unpredictable nature. You don't know where the ball is going to be hit. My dad was a race car driver. My dad was a race car driver, so I take for granted what that looked like. He raced top fuel dragster. He did Indy cars. He holds world records at Bonneville. I just saw him at 83 years old go 260 miles per hour. So I take for granted that part of it, because like guys who do that for a living, there's a weird skill set. Everything slows down for them. And hitting a baseball at 100 miles per hour, and then hitting it when it comes in at 69 miles per hour, to me is one of the most difficult. It will always remain one of the most difficult things to do in sport.
But that's one of the 10 categories. I'm with you. I totally agree with you. But it's all of the categories. It doesn't – listen, does it take nerve standing in the batter's box against Nolan Ryan? You better believe it does. but not as much nerve facing Greg Maddux.
Right. And that's where boxing is like, you feel like you could die. Like you're going to get hit and you're going to get hit in the face. The issue, I don't have issue with boxing, and I think UFC, if it was in this poll, would be right up there with it.
They're top 2.
It's just when you watch boxing at the heavyweight nature, you don't see those guys as incredibly athletic. Some of them are slow. Some of them are fat. Now, if you want to tell me middleweight, like Thomas back in the day, not middleweight, but even like Thomas Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, even Michael Carvajal back in the day, Manny Pacquiao.
Carvajal, well done.
I covered one of his fights in Laughlin, Nevada. But if you look at those guys, that's where, because I covered like 3 bouts in Laughlin, Nevada, and I could not believe how fast their hands were and how hard they hit. And that's where I'd say you're right. But then I watched a couple of bouts where it was like terrible. And I covered a UFC match in Denver a couple of years ago, and there were 2 that were like, oh my God, is someone going to die here in front of me? And then there were a couple of matches where there's no movement. They get him on the mat and it's literally turtling and they're choking like, okay, this sucks. And so that's where, does it take skill overall? Yes, but you could definitely point to examples with heavyweight boxers and UFC guys who just want to get them down on the mat. They're like, really? How hard is it to lay there for 2 minutes?
Let's talk about the 4 major sports then. What's the most difficult when you factor in everything? Because I can make an argument for all of them, but I do have a little bit of a bias towards one: hockey, basketball, baseball, football.
I mean, part of it's my box. I've covered a lot. I would just say football because of the violence. It is a car wreck. They get hit so freaking hard every play. That takes nerve. And I know they're built. I get it. Their bodies are constructed for the tasks. You know, the form meets function thing. I get it. I'm just saying, if you go down to the sidelines and watch an NFL game, it is alarming that they don't exchange insurance papers after plays. So I would say football because of how the violent nature of it. Guys were never meant, Eric, to be this big, this strong, this fast.
I would agree with you. I would argue for hockey for a lot of reasons. For starters, your hand-eye coordination has to be off the charts.
For all guys, too. That's fair.
Correct. And I understand guys play in shifts. Most guys probably play anywhere between 16 to 20 minutes per game. That is not a lot. But when you are skating full speed, that is a difficult thing to do. And that's the operative word: skating. That alone is a skill. My argument, and really only argument against football, is this: one, there are different positions, right? Number 2, how many minutes in a football game are you actually playing at full speed because of the game clock? There are constant breaks in that game. In basketball, you are going full tilt all the time, but the difference is you are not on skates. As for baseball, the hardest thing to do is hit a baseball and then throw a baseball with a variety of pitches. But everybody's standing out there. Unless the ball comes to you, you might as well just be picking dandelions out there.
I mean, I would say part of baseball that gets understated is the concentration between pitches. It's just like, again, 0 to full throttle, 0 to full throttle, that I think some people miss. But to your point,
you're only doing it 3-4 times a game.
No, you're doing it for
football,
150
all the time.
On defense, you're doing it for 150 pitches. You know, step, 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 boom, ready, no, nothing. Step, 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 boom. Like I'm just saying, there's a part mentally to that is weird, that it's hard, but it's not hockey.
You know what? Hold on. So, well, with hockey, you're getting blasted all over the ice.
It's not as physical. You're making it out like it's the Broad Street Bullies. Nowhere near as much contact as we used to see.
Not as much fighting, but in forechecking and back checking, there is plenty of contact, and you are not as protected as you are in football. And oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I do not buy the argument that you have to be mentally tough standing in the outfield. You know where you have to be mentally tough? Golf. One bad shot, your whole round craps out.
But to point about the physicality in hockey, and I love hockey players, I get it. How many guys get hurt in hockey? They don't. They wear because there's not as much contact as you think. Every NFL game, guys get lost for the season. Every game. And so that's why I'm saying it takes the violence level up a notch. We don't watch hockey games and think, oh yeah, we're gonna lose some for the season tonight. Every Sunday in the NFL, somebody gets lost for the season. I mean, I could look it up. I mean, I'm talking ACL, Achilles, broken arm, broken leg, broken ankle. It's just there's a violent nature to football that's. I mean, again, hockey guys are the toughest guys I've ever covered. I'm not going to change that.
Yep.
But they can go, 2-3 weeks without getting a hit. It feels like their season and careers in jeopardy. Every week in the NFL, you could suffer a hit that ends your season and or career.
I'm going to give you another argument against baseball because I lived it. When I used to do the pre and post game shows for the Cubs on television, I used to have cigarettes with Mark Grace in the clubhouse.
Yep.
Okay. You can't be smoking cigarettes playing football. You can't be smoking cigarettes playing hockey. You can't be smoking cigarettes playing basketball, although I'm sure there are. But here's
I watched Gusarov from the Avs smoke in between periods back in the day at old McNichols Arena. He'd be on the bike pedaling while smoking.
And I get that. But again, he may have been playing 15 minutes a game. And I get it. There are shifts. But here's my argument against hockey. And what I'm about to say about this guy is as much of a compliment as anything else, because I have no idea how the fuck this guy was able to do this. When I first got to Denver, it was the lockout. And I was in a bar down in Lodo with some friends. And they were both sportscasters, and I was new to town. And they said, there is a guy you have to meet. He's just the greatest guy. And he was a hockey player. And you could say that about almost every hockey player. They're all great guys. So they tap this guy on the shoulder. He turns around. He has 2 full pitchers of beer in his hand. Pitchers, not pints, pitchers. And they said, Eric, this is Danny Highnote. Okay? And I mean it as a compliment. This guy could drink beer like no one I've ever met. But for some reason, he was great for the pregame skate the next day. I don't know how he was, but he was. So with that, if you can drink that much beer and still play hockey, good on you. But with the hitting, the speed, being on ice skates, the physicality, hand-eye coordination, the breaks are shifts, and I get it. But looking at defensemen almost always play over 20 minutes a game. And it is full tilt every single time, just like basketball. In baseball, there's a lot of resting going on. And honestly, in football, it's not a knock on them. There is a lot of opportunity to catch your breath as well. Basketball, you don't get a chance to catch your breath. When you're on that floor, you're going up and down, and you're playing a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, hockey, because of the hand-eye required for all players, not some, because of the speed, because you're dealing with ice and you're on skates. And I tell people this all the time because I didn't grow up with hockey. The Colorado Rockies, that was the original hockey team, moved and became the New Jersey Devils. But I tell people all the time, if you ever have a chance, go see a hockey game live just to understand it. Because TV, that is the one sport TV does no justice.
Yeah. Well, once HD came into play, I think it did.
Yeah, I don't think people realize the speed and the just how fast, especially just the shots. I go watch Avs like skate around, and you're like, I don't even know how they see the puck. Like I'm like, I don't even know how these guys ever see the puck in terms of the goalie. So hockey will give you, and again, it's a perfect lead into today. 2 huge hockey games. Are we going to be sitting here going, USA, USA, just like yesterday? I wanted so much to see USA Canada in the gold medal game. Mainly because there's a bunch of Avs, but I just cannot. I don't want to be deprived of that game. I think that would be Sunday, right?
Yes.
Or maybe I can. I so desperately want to see that game.
And by the way, I don't have proof of this, but I believe this to be true. And you and I are roughly the same age, although I think I might have cavities older than you, but that's another topic. The chant USA began in 1980.
Yep. That's the first time anyone remembers hearing it at a sporting event.
Right. And now it is used as a weapon politically, unfortunately. What a great way to end the show. With that, that's going to do it for us. Troy, enjoy the hockey today. I know that I will as well. Make it the best possible day you can.